Okay, take 2, did this video, had to do it again because for some reason the computer quit on me. I don't know, I didn't make the plans. So, solving equations, section 3.3. Before you write this down in your notes, because I want it to go in your notes too, and tell your mama I'm telling you right now in the video that you get an hour and a half for this particular lesson, but the next lesson shouldn't take you but like 10 minutes, so that's not a big deal, I don't think. Kind of planned it that way. All of this also needs to go on a post-it. And you're going to have to work really hard to make it all fit on a post-it. But it needs to go on a post-it so you can go and take it from place to place to place. So pause it, make sure you write it all down in your notes and on the post-it so it can go from place to place to place to place. Because you're going to be using this in chapter 3 and in chapter 4 and in chapter 5 and in chapter 15 and in chapter 22. Okay, there isn't a 22, but you use it next year too, and you'll use it the next year too. Just go ahead and write it down on a post-it so it's easy to transfer. You really need to have it memorized before you take the test. Just saying. But go ahead and write it down on the post-it. So hopefully you're back now. Problem number 6 in the classroom exercises, whatever. They want to know what you have to do in order to get the x by itself, because that's what solve means. It means you're getting the x by itself. So when I look at this, if I'm going through my list of things to do, I would draw the line, which is great. And then I'd simplify both sides. And that means I need to get rid of any parentheses. We don't have any parentheses, so I don't have to worry about that. Get rid of any fractions. We don't have any fractions, so I don't have to worry about that. Combine like terms. That means looking on this side, do I have any like terms? No. Looking on that side, do I have any like terms? No. We're not talking about crossing over the line. Then I move the letter from the left side by doing the opposite, or move all the letters to the left side. All my letters are already on the left side. Remember I told you back in the very first video we ever did. I mean way back before you started algebra. This was all letter. And this one is all number. I know there's a number in there, but I call that letter because we have to talk about it as a letter. So, we make sure all the letters are on the left side, which they are, so I don't have to worry about that step. Then we move all the numbers to the right side. So I'm not talking about moving the 3, because technically the 3 is a letter right now. I'm talking about moving that 7. So how do I get the 7 to the other side? Well, I have to do the opposite. So instead of it being a plus 7, I'm going to have to subtract 7 from both sides. And that's okay, because I told you that you could do addition or subtraction in order to make this happen. So that means that my 7's are going to cancel out, and I'll end up with 3x is equal to 10. Then I'm supposed to divide by the number in front of the letter. So I divide by 3, because that's the number in front of the letter. That gives me x on this side is equal to 10 over 3. If you want to write that as 3 1/3, that's fine. If you want to write that as 3.3 repeating, that's fine. Make sure you put the little repeating bar there. I'm probably going to leave it like that because we're in algebra now. That's a good enough answer for algebra. It's actually more useful than the other two. Now, step 6 says to check your answer. There are a couple of ways you could do this. If you are me, you know it's right, so there's no need to worry. But if you're you, and this was classwork, you check your answer by looking at the answers to the classwork with your mom. If you are you and this is homework, you check your answers by looking in the back of the book. If you are you and this is a test or a quiz, then you have to check your answers by plugging it in. But since right now I'm me, I ain't going to worry about that. I'll show you on the next one how to do it. Speaking of the next one, practice exercises, just so you know where I'm getting these from. Problem number 6. There says 14 minus 2x is equal to 18. So, first step is to draw the line. Second step, simplify both sides. So, do I have any parentheses? No. Any fractions? No. Any like terms on this side? No. Any like terms on that side? No. Do I have all my letters on this side? Yes, because that's the left side. Do I have all my numbers on this side? No, because I got 14. So I need to get rid of the 14. Right now it's a positive 14. I have to subtract that 14 to get rid of it. So they'll cancel each other out. So that leaves me with negative 2x is equal to 4. Then I divide by the number in front of the letter. My number in front of the letter is a negative 2, not a positive 2, it's a negative 2. So I divide by negative 2. That leaves me with x on one side, and negative 2 goes into positive 4 negative 2 times. Now, remember I told you I'd show you how to check? So if this were a test or a quiz and you needed to check this, then you plug this number back into the original problem. 14 minus 2 times, we've got negative 2 is equal to 18. And the question is, do those sides really equal? If they really do equal, then that means that this is correct. So 14 minus 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Equals 18, so that becomes a plus. So 14 plus 4, and we 18 equals 18, which is true. So what's our answer? Everybody in algebra always wants to say that 18 is our answer, because that's what we got, and we put a little check by and everything. But that's not right. That's your checking to make sure that it's the right answer. And you know it's the right answer because you got the same thing on both sides. But your answer is this over here. Make sure you box the correct thing when you take that test. It'd be a shame for you to do all that work and then box the last thing you write, and the last thing you write isn't your answer. People make mistakes about that all the time in algebra. Okay, let's try a few more. Problem number 8. So first step is I draw my line. Then I do have some parentheses. So when I go to simplify both sides, I have to take care of my parentheses first. In order to get rid of parentheses, you have to use the distributive property. So I have to say 5 times 3 is 15, and then 5 times negative x is negative 5x. And that equals 40. Then I look to see if I have any fractions. No fractions. Any like terms over here? No. Any like terms over there? No. Do I have all my letters on this side? Yes. Do I have all my letters on this side? No. I mean all my numbers on this side? No. So I have to move my number over here. So I'm going to subtract 15 since it was a positive 15 over there. If I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other. Gives me negative 5x equals positive 25. And then I divide by the number in front of the letter. So x is equal to negative 5. Here we divided by -2, and our answer was -2. Here we divided by -5, and our answer is -5. Does that mean every time we divide, whatever we divide by is what our answer is? No. It just happened to work out that way this time. Don't get carried away. It doesn't always do that. We'll leave that up there for a second. Let's look at problem number 10. I do this slightly different from the way that your book does it. So I'm going to do it my way first, then I'm going to show you the way the book does it. And then I'm going to explain to you when you have to do it my way and when it's okay to do it the book's way. Because you might like the book's way better. Who knows? So for this one, I'm drawing my line. It has parentheses, so I need to take care of that first. So I'm going to go 1/3 times x is 1/3 x, and then 1/3 times 27. Remember, when you multiply a whole number times a fraction, you multiply top times big and divide by the bottom. So 1 times 27 is 27, divided by 3 is 9. And that gives me 4. Now, my way says you get rid of the fraction next, because I don't like fractions, so I want to get rid of them. So in order to get rid of fractions, you need to multiply everything by the common denominator. What's my common denominator here? Well, it's 3. That's the only denominator we got, other than the ones, which we don't even write. So I need to multiply everything by 3. That means on both sides, I have to multiply by 3. So here, 1/3 times 3, a third of 3 is just 1. So that's my x. And then 3 times 9 is 27, and then over here 4 times 3 is 12. Now I don't have any fractions. Do it just like we did before. I have all my letters over here. I need to get all my numbers over there. So I subtract 27 from both sides. And that gives me x equal to -15. That's the way I would do it. Go ahead, get rid of the fractions. You don't have to worry about them anymore. Now, your book wants you to be fluent in fractions, to love fractions, to use them, to add, subtract, multiply, divide, left and right all the time with fractions. So they don't want you to get rid of the fractions. They want you to keep working with them all the way through the problem. So you do it just like we did before, except you never get rid of the fraction. So they'd say, keep doing the distributive property. So you get the 1/3x plus a third of 27 is 9. And then instead of worrying about getting rid of the fraction, just worry about the combining like terms. We don't have any like terms on this side. We don't have any like terms on that side. Make sure your letters are on this side, which they are. Make sure your numbers are on that side. Oh, I need to subtract that 9. So that gives me 1/3x is equal to -5. Then, at the end, instead of dividing by the number in front, which technically you're still dividing because it's a fraction, so you flip it over and multiply, you end up multiplying by the reciprocal so that you can get x is equal to negative 15. Now, if you feel more comfortable with this way, that's fine. If you feel more comfortable with this way, that's fine. But whenever you have fractions on both sides of the equation, you need to do it my way. Go ahead and get rid of the fractions instead of getting bogged down with, do I need a common denominator now or is it okay without it? Because that's one of the big things that people always mess up on fractions. So if you go ahead and get rid of all the fractions, then you don't have to worry about that anymore. When you have fractions on both sides, that's when you have to get rid of it and do it my way. Have to do it my way. Other times, you get to pick which way you like. Now you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but how often am I really going to have fractions on both sides? Well, let's look at number 17. 17 isn't that high up in the numbers, I'm just saying. 1 over 5 equals 2 over 3 plus 3 over 5x. I can draw the line. That was simple enough. We don't have any parentheses this time. Do we have any fractions? A lot of them. So in order to get rid of the fractions, we need to multiply everything by the common denominator. What's the common denominator this time? Hint, it ain't 5. This time our common denominator is 15. And it's 15 because these numbers all go evenly into 15. So I need to multiply both sides by 15. Remember, when you multiply a whole number times a fraction, you're multiplying by the top and dividing by the bottom. So 15 times 1 is 15, divided by 5 is 3. Took care of that. 15 times 2 is 30, divided by 3 is 10. 3 times 15 is 45, divided by 5 is 9. No more fractions. We still have a small problem though. This time we don't have all our letters on this side. So I have to get this 9x over here. I have to do that by doing the opposite. So you can only add and subtract for this. So I'm going to subtract 9x from both sides. When I have 9 apples and I take away 9 apples, there are no more apples. So all I have left is 10. Over here, you can't take away 9 apples from $3. It doesn't work that way. Apples and dollars aren't the same thing. So I just have to write my minus 9x plus 3 because it's positive 3, so it's plus 3. Now I need to get all my numbers on the right hand side. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Negative 9x equals 7, and divide by the number in front of the letter. X is equal to negative 7 over 9. And if you really wanted to check it, you can. Go check it in the back of the book. It's back there. It's number 17. Just saying. I'm right. Hurts, don't it? So, this is like a super important section. Super, super massively important section to your mathematical skills because it's the beginning of the whole solving equations thing. And that is used from now until the end of time in your math. So, I wanted to give you like a whole heap of classwork and homework, but I tried to keep it down. Classwork is going to be the class exercises, numbers 1 through 4, and practice exercises, numbers 2 and 18. And then the homework is going to be the practice exercises, numbers 1 through 15 odd. Don't worry, we'll get lots more practice later. The next section's actually really short, and there isn't very much for you to write down in it. So it should go rather quickly today. So try to get as much of this done, including the homework, before your hour is up. Love you, and I will talk to you later.